what your choices have been and what karmic timelines and contracts you have journeyed. The light is calling for the reunification of all aspects of life in this realm now. It is calling for the cleansing of all polarities. It is calling for the rising of all sacred heart centers now. All are being summoned home to the greater light now.
Hi, and welcome everyone to Whole Soul Mastery and Whole Soul School and Foundation's joint podcast today, where we are back again with Dr. Terry Cole Whittaker to talk about her amazing 8 steps to spiritual and earthly riches. My name is Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, intuitive, and messenger of our powerful journeys to whole soul mastery and authentic self-expression. And I want to welcome you, Dr. Terry. I just love talking to you. I feel like so many good insights and gems come through in these podcasts together. And I want to thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for asking me, because you just bring it out, we have so much fun. We're connected. I love that. Because it's good for the audience, because it gets the best out of us, see. When you work with someone who's loving and right there, they want you to win and be successful. And it's so great because the best comes out of you. Yes. For the audience, and they feel, for everybody.
Yes. And the audience, our listeners feel the best coming out in them because they want to join this frequency with us. That's how I feel when I listen to you. I mean, Terry, I've gone back to some of your videos on your YouTube channel, which is amazing, and that's always in the link of the description section. So people who are listening, you can go and find Dr. Terry's messages, please, because when I would listen to you, I would feel like I was winning, right? When I tune into your video messages, even the ones from decades ago, right? You are so good. And people want that winning feeling because a lot of people haven't been feeling like they've been winning, right?
Right, because they're believing the stuff and taking on what others say without doing the homework to find out who you really are. So we do the homework to offer to them, everybody listening, and then you need to also ask questions. So you come to Marie or you come to me or whoever is going to be your teacher and such to actually ask the questions, because a lot of stuff you won't get an answer unless you ask. And that's knowing in anything how to ask. It's like they say we're always like 3 people away from meeting anybody in the world that you know, because if you ask the right questions, you see.
Right. The questions
very
lead
important.
To the connections. They lead to the connections,
very good.
Right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Right?
Absolutely. When people say, "Oh, well, nobody told me," well, you didn't ask, did you? See, that's what happened.
Well, you're on a roll. I don't want to interrupt. I was just going to say your first step is ask. It's ask.
Yes, you got to do it. See, ask the source within you with you also, and that's what the answers will come. But a lot of people say, "Duh, I don't know." Well, who do I ask? Well, the power is right there with you. But if you don't know it, it's like the power's not there, and you're misusing it, because then you're automatically going to be manifesting because it's your nature. So you got to, hey, this is your life, and you can't die. You are eternal, so you better find out how to make it good.
That is, like in our spiritual journeys, in these, like our journeys of mastery, we're remembering, number one, that we are these powerful creators, and we are creating all the time, like you said. So we're creating, when we're unconsciously creating, we're creating a mixture a lot of the time, aren't we? Until you discover that I can make prosperous choices. I can make blissful choices, right?
Right, absolutely. And the key, remember we started to look at, the key is you have to know your life purpose and mission as your rudder to keep you on course. Because people say, well, how do I know what to do or what's good for me or not? Well, you have to take the time to go, well, what's my life's purpose? and what's my mission, and what is it I want to attain, so then I know my choices then, because choices are called discernment, what to do to manifest what you want and what to not do that causes you trouble. It's there.
Right.
You see?
I love how you
Absolutely.
decoded that, because discernment can be a big word. Like we hear
It's
it,
a big
a
word.
lot of us in the
Mhm.
spiritual communities, we know
Mhm.
that word, we hear it, we use it, but
Mhm.
it's so powerful when you just distilled it. It's our choices. It's our
It's
choices.
our choices. It's a because what people are experiencing is their karma. Karma, it has to do with this reality, which is cause and effect. That's one of the principles of this reality. And it's all in the mind. This is a mental reality. For choices, then, because it's a mental plane, and it's done with words. Okay, it's word programming and therefore word control. Because when you see all the laws, all the rules, all the whatever it may be, and there's billions of them, are all words. And those words, then, we are taught in school how to pronounce those words, the definitions, the meanings, and these have all been given to us to learn so that we're in this system. And the problem is then the continual mind programming that goes on with narratives, stories, history, governments, religion, money, all of this, the thoughts that control people. And then what happens when we believe those thoughts and we operate on those thoughts, then we're going to get the results of what we're thinking, feeling, and doing. And for most of the time, people feel like victims, or they feel like, oh my God, how come this is happening to me? And instead of just being like a lobster on your back and going, oh, what do I do? Do the work. Yeah, if you listen to Marie's story, listen to mine. I was a single mother. I had 2 children, but I had just, really abusive relationships and all of that. And I would go to a metaphysical church on a Sunday, and I started volunteering. Well, when I started volunteering, and helping others, that's when my life turned around. Instead of trying to get stuff, I then took a position of being able to assist others and want them to prosper. So that helps you eliminate envy, which is the disease of humankind, jealousy, resentment, all that stuff. Because most people are like, not most, a lot of people are like a walking time bomb, because all of those thoughts are going on and everybody's got a mind, and very few people have any idea or even know how to stop the mind or control the mind. Some people can't sleep at night. A lot of people are always bothered. What are people thinking? Well, you can count on that. People are criticizing you all the time. And some people are glorified, but you can't get over that, because otherwise you're going to have to try and change everybody else's mind. Change your own. It's a lot easier. And then you're living in the spiritual world, because your mind is spiritualized and you're feeling good, going good, having it good. But you have to ask, how much good can you receive? You see, that's
right.
big.
It's huge.
Absolutely.
It's huge. Well, so I just want to say, because there's so many things, this is a big topic today, and I want to say again, if I didn't say it before, we are talking about step number 5 and making prosperous choices. We've already talked about the first 4 steps. Number 1, the ask. 2, appreciate what you have. 3, being willing to have what you ask for. And the 4th, we just recently did, was making a prosperity action plan. And now we're talking about this energy, this awareness of making prosperous choices, making prospering choices.
That's right.
And this is where you put yourself back into the driver's seat of your life instead of the victim of your life happening to you. And so many people they would say that they want this, but they're not aware that there is this work involved. No one can just give you the golden ticket like from Willy Wonka, and
But see, people, what happens is with the words and all of that, and not, without having the knowledge, because it's not put out there. Even that so-called law of attraction is opposite from the way it really works. So that's why a lot of people don't really get results from that, because things aren't attracted to us. We're attracted to things and people and situations. So we focus on that. You don't just sit around your chair and think it's all going to come to your door. It may, if you have that kind of a consciousness, but if you want it to come to your door, then you've got to have to work on it to eliminate all the thoughts that say it's not possible. Even that.
Right.
Say, yes.
Oh, it's so huge. Like you just said a number of things there. I want to go back to a lot of our world, like the words, the spelling, the way we're conditioned to believe in limits, because that's what we're taught. Like I remember it was probably in the last 5 to 10 years, somebody used the term a zero-sum game. I'd never heard that before, but that means for me to win, you have to lose, or for you to win, I have to lose. And that's so a part of our conditioning, which creates the competition and the envy. But when you start entering, you consciously enter this like spiritual journey, you start to cultivate a relationship with Source. We get back to that Garden of Eden energy where there's enough for all of us.
Absolutely. Buckminster Fuller, we called him Bucky, and I had a nice relationship with him, and I had him speak at my church, and I spent some time, and he's the one that invented the geodesic dome, and he wanted to find out what one person could do without a formal education, and Bucky could do, and he was so inspiring, you see, and to know that you don't have to get a formal education for anything, because who's the educator? You see, what do they want? We look at what goes on in the schools, and even like parents trying to take the school boards back and take these things back when people say, well, how dare you? But it's our children in school. And people don't even realize that even when the birth certificate, you're basically giving your child to the government. That's just the way it's all set up. And when you see, one of the keys is to learn word magic. And it's kind of a Babylonian kind of a thing, it's word magic. And we talked before, when you say hello to people, hello, that's telling them to go to hell. It's called low hell. That's how the subconscious picks it up. People don't get this. Okay, we're told that our memories are wiped when we reincarnate in birth. That's not true. I have so many memories because I worked on it. I started years ago with so many different things I've gone through and studied, and teachers and workshops, seminars, all kinds of things, because for me, I want to know for me, because I want the topmost of what's possible. Everybody should want that. But to do that, you have to find out and know who you are. You have to know how this reality operates. You have to know the power of your own voice and your words and what you think and what you say and what you do, because it's like each one of us have an individual reality. And you could call it your bubble. And what you're going to project is what you have believed and what's stored in your subconscious. And people may consciously not know something, but the subconscious, it's all stored there from the very first time you ever agreed to play the game. And I remember, and I know why, and I remember why I did it and when I did it. And what happens is that we've been so programmed with, whether it's sci-fi or all of these people telling us, oh, you have to work up to the next level and you get another lifetime and you're going to handle this. You got to come back because you didn't finish this. Okay, as long as you have a material desire and it's in the mind, you have to live in a material reality. You have to live in a mental reality. And when you take your power back, is to know that, and you know what you're speaking, you know what you're thinking, and you know what you're projecting. So when you feel stopped or oppressed or controlled or manipulated, it's because you're agreeing to it. And the key here is do not consent ever to anything you do not want. And people then get terrorized by fear. My dear ones, you cannot die. You are life itself. And as life itself, that means that you are eternity. And so you're the essence of all we're the prize. And how do you take over for God? You take over one person at a time, one particle at a time. You convince that person to give you their power. You tell them they can't do it, they're stupid, they're not able to, this is how it's going to be, this is how it is. And it's not true, because it's all in words. Everything in a word is a lie, because words can never, ever even explain who you are, because you're inconceivable. God is inconceivable. You can't prove or disprove God by words. In the beginning was the Word. You see, this is John 1. Tells you the game. In the beginnings of this game is the Word. And the Word was with God, whoever spoke it. And the Word then is God. So they made the Word God. So in this reality, words are God. So they say, well, we made these laws. And when we make these laws, you have to do this because the words are the power. No, they're not. I am the power. You are the power. And when you do that, see, you have to be really strong in yourself, because it's all a big hypnotic trance. And it's done through repetition. It's done through illusion. It's done through movies. It's done from whatever may be, memes, narratives, this group, that group. It's getting people, they're running after like chickens. Have you ever had baby chickens?
No, but they're cute.
Well, what they do with baby chickens, you put something in the box, like anything, little piece of a orange. They all go after it like crazy and want to steal the piece. They don't even know what it is. But if you got it, I want it, and I'm going to go get it. And people are acting like that. They're fighting in markets, because the evil ones of this world, and there is no evil opposing us in the universe anywhere. The evil is a perversion of basically entities, or I call it a mind virus, that took over humanity and uses us as its food, as its energy source, as we're basically the god for this mind virus, because we create the world that the mind is dictating to us to produce. So when you have the news out there and all and you only look, maybe you watch The View or something, so all you're going to do is you're going to get the opinion of these people who are all paid to these jobs. Who are they working for? I remember years ago, I was on Oprah Winfrey's television. Was famous. So it was about 2 weeks before she went on national TV, and she was being promoted to do those things. And before that, I had done a pilot for a TV show MGM produced called The Terry Cole Show. And they came to me, and every big station wanted my show. And they said, well, there's one thing you have to give up. You have to give up your religion and your church. And I said, I'm not. They said, but you'll make millions. I said, I don't care, but I won't. So they picked Oprah. And so they moved that direction, because I said, this is not my world. I'm not run by money, even though the world runs, and you have to play the money game because you're in the world. But it's not the world of stuff, because we're all pleasure seekers. We want to be happy. We want to have a good life. We want to have, what we need, and we want children and all of this. This is all natural. And the thing is that if we're listening to these people out there, you have to look at what's their life like. Who are these people? Where do they get to the ideas? Who's paying these people? And the most challenging, difficult people in the world, they're ruining their own lives, is because they've trusted these people who are in government positions, corporate positions, banking positions, all of these, to make rules on the people. Okay, there is this video where these two men were in this village in Mexico, and the village had been overrun with the Mexican mafia and gangs and wars, troubles and everything. The people got together and they threw out the lawyers, the judges, the police, the mayor. They got rid of all of these people, and the people became responsible for themselves and and help each other. And all that was left were seniors who would help guide the people. And they got rid of all of the troubles. They live in harmony with each other because they took
people
their
are
power
naturally back. They're naturally collaborative and cooperative. I think, like you said,
yes,
I guess it sounds like this envy business. It's part of that mind virus.
Yes,
it's not really our nature, which is why we don't really feel good when we do it. Even people who look like, I think you would say this, Terry, people who look super successful, who made it in Hollywood or, in professional sports or something. I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people who made it and get to the top of their field, they're not happy because they haven't. When you have to separate from source, which was the ultimatum kind of offer to you, you can have this if you give up this, right?
That's right,
And so people have given up the thing that it's like who we're made of. It gave a...
That's what we're made of, yes.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Right? And because they've traded it for something, they want a few trinkets. And what is the key is, this is what is key, because I got to that place, Marie, because for years, I used to visualize myself on television. I didn't tell anybody. I had a mission, really strong. And this is what you look at, your purpose and your mission. And I want people, because what I like to do is I mentor for life's work. It's your dharma. It's your purpose. It's your mission as an eternal being. And when you realize that you have to do it yourself. You if you don't know your purpose and mission, make one up. But the idea is that when you go to make a choice in your life, of a choice of what you're going to say to someone, or where you're going to live, or how you feel, or what you do in any way, so much of it is run by the mind. Well, I'm going to get even, or I've got a grudge, or anyway, this envy thing. And then the envy makes people want to harm others, and they're happy for someone else's misery. That is demoniac. That means you're infected by the mind virus. And who we are naturally is very giving, very loving. That's why this book I've been working on for years, and I'm going to get it out there, and I call it Prospering Choices. And I use animal stories to tell the stories of people, how we're programmed through giving other people and everything else outside of us the power to do things. And I wrote that book for kind-hearted people who want to see the good in others but lack discernment. Right there, lack discernment means oftentimes what we do is we want to see the good in everybody. This is a problem, but we don't notice what they're really doing. And one of the programs that they put in some of the New Thought teachings is that if you see it in somebody else, it means that you're that way, so you can't criticize them or you can't see it. That's not true. If you see a rabid dog, doesn't mean you're a rabid dog. It means that you can tell the dog's having trouble. You have to be able to say who you want to be with and who you don't want to be with. And you say, well, if you can see that, then it's in you. And you're telling, no, that's not true. It's like the teacher doesn't have to doesn't take on the problems of the student. And the teacher only teaches what the student is capable of learning or understanding or knowing at the time. See, when I looked at all the things that I wanted, I wanted to be at the top of my game. And when I got there and I was on, television and Emmy-winning television show at the International, I had all the fame, all the attention, all the glory, big organization, institute, everything. And I'm standing there, I'm going, something's wrong here, because it hasn't solved my problems, this teaching that I was teaching. Metaphysics, there's something was missing, and it was really the divine, the God, the presence, the love. It was an intellectual, mental teaching. You have to have a heart teaching and a mental. So what I did is I studied mega churches. I studied people who were in the positions I wanted. And then when I started my TV show, I hired Robert Schuller's consultant at $5,000 a month to teach me how to do television ministry, or I would have failed immediately because I didn't know what to do. You see, you can accomplish this, but you got to find out how to do it. You got to go to those. That's why I do mentoring, because I've experienced all this, and I can help people and teach them to do that.
Yes.
It is with mistakes. There's a limited number of mistakes you can make. And you can find it and get by there sometime and get by this. But if you study like the wisdom of the mystics, of the wise, and it's like you see all this stuff has programmed children. Don't think my grandchildren don't talk to me since this thing they were doing out there. I don't even like to name it or think, because they were told your grandmother doesn't love you and your family doesn't want because they haven't done this. I mean, okay. It's not my fault, you see, because I know I have to take care of me. And part of me taking care of me is taking care of you. Because I don't envy anybody. I am joyful at their happiness. But envious people cannot stand the happiness or success of anybody else. And they're so quick to want to criticize and put people down in every single way instead of, you know what? That's not my business. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on me, and I'm going to focus on the life I want, and I'm going to do the work. I've invested hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars in my consciousness. I've got whatever I've had to go, I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to learn. And I've even learned things that are called taboo. Don't look there. And as soon as someone says, don't look there, I look there.
I saw you. I think that's where you had me, Terry. When I saw some of your videos, you were saying this in like the 70s. If someone says that you couldn't look and you're like, well, I'm going to do it then. And I'm like, that is so attractive to the spiritual seeker who's truly seeking to know themselves. We will go where we need to go to get the information that we need to liberate ourselves from the spells that we've been given, right? So we can step up and live these like prosperous lives, even if other people are not choosing that. Yeah,
and if
I saw that.
People want to be miserable. Yes, you don't have to be miserable because they're miserable. People say, well, how can I be happy in the world and all this? Well, if you're I wrote in my book, Live Your Bliss. I'm showing that bliss is where you start your life. It's not where you go to get happy. You take your happiness with you. I don't do things to make me happy. I am happy. Bam. That's so
important. Yes.
Yes. And anybody can do that. They say, oh, that's fine for you. I pulled myself up by the bootstraps. I didn't have even no, I would visualize. I remember, I told you in the beginning, I used to visualize that my mailbox would be full of checks made out to me. And I didn't have a job. I don't even think I had a bank account. But I'm visualizing, I get the feeling, and I go out there and there weren't any checks in there. Well, people say, oh, then you quit. No, you do not quit. It took me 13 years. And after 13 years, almost $7 million came through the post office with my name on it. And it said Terry Cole Whittaker Ministries. And that was over, I think I raised over 20 or $25 million for charity. Absolutely.
Right.
I remember this one person I was working with, and she said, oh, I just signed up and paid $20,000 for this woman to teach me how to write a book and all that. And I said, why didn't she ask me? I'm a #1 New York Times bestseller. I would have done it for just peanuts, almost. Not peanuts, but I'm not motivated by money. I am motivated by love and goodness and joy. And yes, money's great when you use it for great things. But if you don't and you're money crazy, then you always feel bad. But when you have God consciousness or divine consciousness, you always have what you need, always. And you're always in the right place at the right time. And all good is waiting for you to open the door to the treasure chest of divine, supreme happiness, love, joy, abundance. And I was able to do everything I ever wanted to do. Everything by practicing these teachings and then realizing something's missing. And I said, well, of course, the voice from the sky told I have a lot of experiences. I guess you're not going to do this anymore. So I said, okay, 2 weeks from now, I'm gone because I'm off. I always said my spiritual life is most important. That's it. Yes.
Everything lines up with that. When that is your intention, and that's true of anything that people are aligning with. So you were saying something, your spiritual life is most important, and the universe and God and your higher self, whatever people call that, aligns that to be the case. So that means jobs and people and relationships and things that are not aligned with that will fall away. Yeah.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. And you have to dare to have that much good, because what happens is people have so much, we're run by guilt, not even anything we even did. I remember when I was in high school and they'd have these PA systems, these boxes that now hear this, the principal is talking. I always thought I was going to get caught, but I wasn't doing anything bad. I just thought, but what did I do? That's the mind. The mind isn't ours. The mind belongs to the mind virus, because divine wisdom knows everything. But if you listen to your mind and you believe that, you'll want to kill yourself. You basically want to say, I'm horrible, I'm this, I'm that. It's called self-hatred. And that self-hatred, like they're doing now, your color is hateful, or your religion is hateful, or they go after people on the most shallow place where people fight to the death over a pair of tennis shoes.
Right. It's this point where it has become so senseless. Not that it was sensible back, and even now with the wars that we fight, people can find a way to justify, well, they blew up this building, we have to go bomb them. But you're right. It's whether it's a war over something bigger or it's over a pair of tennis shoes. This is where I think in this lifetime for me, it's been a huge journey into waking up to the whole illusion of the game where you talked about in the beginning was the word. And the word,
that's right,
it can liberate us or incarcerate us, but in this realm, it has fully incarcerated until you wake up to the games being played. And what I love that we're also talking about here, Terry, is that you are talking about 8 steps to spiritual and earthly riches. But it's the true riches come from spirit first, and the tangible riches are an extension. But we have this upside down, which is where the envy comes. People want to have earthly riches, and maybe they'll make a little bit of time for the spiritual riches or not at all. And we're having to find this balance. So this is so important to talk about, because in the step 5 of making prospering choices, you start to, if you create long enough, and if you stay in this journey long enough, like Terry and I have both been, right? And you for longer than me, right? You for longer than me, but you realize...
Well, I've been older. My body's 84, but I'm not.
Right, your consciousness is forever.
Half, but why be 3.5? Yes, exactly. And I have all those memories. Once you start tapping in to this, I remember because I used to do a lot of rebirthing, breathing processes. It's a very powerful process. And the house I had in La Jolla, I had a deck overlooking the ocean. I had a hot tub there. So this one day I'm with the hot tub and I'm with my snorkel, and I'm breathing under the water for about 3 hours, but I'm clearing and I'm going to the higher thought, the higher thought, the higher truth, the higher truth. And I got to the very top where there was no other higher thought. And I heard my mind stop and went rewound. It was a tape, audio tape. I'm telling you. Most people won't do stuff like that. Because
that's a tenacity. We're tenacious.
Yes, we are.
We are. And you're right. Not everybody would do that, but that illustrates the point is, the spiritual journey isn't for people who are wishy-washy. It's not
No,
for
no.
people who are vulnerable in that kind of way. You do
That's
have
right.
to have this like dedication and find these spiritual teachers that you can trust, that you discern that their
right.
actions
That's
tell you
right.
who they are, not their words or their websites or even just a short little video clip. You have to see over time who people are, and this is part of that spiritual journey of discernment and making choices, because early on, I think I was going to say that early on, I was excited to discover, like, remember, we could say discover and remember are similar to me now. But
yes, they
I
are.
was excited. Yeah, I was excited to manifest, a cup of tea, or to manifest checks in the mail, like you, or I was manifesting a property that I could host gatherings on for a number of years.
Yes.
And we get so excited. We get so excited for this. The manifestation, when you realize that you have this creative power to work with the energies of the universe, you want to manifest all the things, the tangible things that you couldn't have before. But what you realize is, see, one of my bigger dreams still hasn't manifested. It's still in process. Like you, 13 years saying that intention, and later, 13 years later, you have the millions, right?
That's right.
But but along the way, my not having I manifested so many things. So I only have like one or two things that haven't manifested in form yet. But see, it's still my teacher. The manifesting of the center has been my best teacher, because when it's not in my experience, I work on myself. I know that I have work to grow, to open, to receive the level of the intention that I have. I have to grow and be a match to what that is.
Absolutely. If you want, you have to have that same consciousness. If you want to hang out with God, you have to have God consciousness.
Right.
You do. Right. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. People say, well, no, you have to raise yourself to where you belong. Love lifts us up to where we belong. But love and discernment means you have to know what to do and what not to do. That's why the wisdom of the wise, the knowledge of great sages, and one of the reasons why I love the Vedas so much, and starting with the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very basic to you're not the body and who you really are. So the knowledge is there. Like, say, India, they took over India, the evil ones, and then they destroyed the culture, you see. And so then they ridicule that which is higher truth. So the idea of a guru, what they think is they put that down and ridicule it, make it laughable, make it stupid, make it nothing, so that you then will get your knowledge from where you have been programmed by some organization or such that really doesn't want you to know who you are.
For the remainder of this podcast, due to some intense weather happening during our call, we wanted to share a combination of key insights straight from the article, along with Dr. Terry's commentary as best we could. As Dr. Terry said in our Step 4 podcast, persistence builds your strength. And we did just that. We persisted in order to bring you this podcast today. We thank you for persisting with us. So here are some of the key insights that Dr. Terry shares in her article and post about making prosperous choices. Number 1, success avoids people whose minds are clouded by doubts. Dispelling all doubts, we must act to attain our objectives. And she goes on to say, congratulations, precious spirit soul. Your personal worth inventory proclaims that there is an unlimited and ever-flowing abundance of wealth within you in the form of love, happiness, vitality, skills, fulfillment, creativity, intelligence, confidence, knowledge, divine guidance, intentionality, talent, lofty ideals and ideas, imagination, extrasensory abilities, feelings, compassion, experiences, jobs you can do, appreciation, and especially your conscious loving connection with our mutual source and the substance of all that is. Key insight number 2, using your life purpose and mission as your rudder
to keep you steady and on course. Knowing and honoring your life's purpose and mission is most important because you are choosing the direction, quality, and what is possible for you to attain and experience. Using your purpose as your navigator and decision-making standard, you ask yourself, does this help me attain my purpose and mission? Also, do I want the consequences of what will happen if I do such and such or say this or that? You are setting your own guidelines for what is best for you in every possible way by making your decisions harmonious with your purpose and mission. This is your work. Key insight number 3 from Dr. Terry. She says, all significant accomplishments begin with the counsel of the wise. And then she offers a quote. One who follows the principles and instructions enjoined by the great sages of the past can utilize these instructions for practical purposes. Such a person can very easily enjoy life and pleasures. A foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions is simply unsuccessful again and again in his or her attempts. And that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Key insight number 4. Dr. Terry says there are 2 parts to making prosperous choices. Do what works to produce the results you want and avoid what works against you. Key insights number 5, some suggestions about what to do to have what you desire are: be enthusiastic, associate with kind and mutually supportive persons, persist, do your spiritual practices, know your strengths and weaknesses, build your prosperity consciousness, be appreciative and thankful as your general attitude, question everything and do your research, trust your inner knowing and wisdom, endeavor to control the mind, bring forth your innate source-like qualities, powers, and abilities, be in the now, be inspired, encourage others, build your faith in source and self-confidence, study spiritual books and teachings, and add your own suggestions. And key insight number 6, Dr. Terry offers some suggestions for what to avoid doing that blocks the flow of divine energy. Avoid mean, cruel, insulting, and degrading persons. Stop any cruelty to human or animals. Give up self-hatred. Dump greed and miserliness. Avoid self-pity, blaming others, and victimhood. Root out unworthiness and not good enough programs. Avoid substance abuse. Do not allow fear and guilt thoughts to defeat you or make you suffer. Stop giving the power to words that hurt, harm, or abuse you when they have nothing to do with you. And add your own suggestions. And lastly, Dr. Terry closes out the article with these messages from Step 5, Making Prosperous Choices, by saying, realizing that there is infinitely so much more that is possible for us than what we have been taught and basically word programmed to believe is a freeing and exhilarating cognition. And she invites you to set up a complimentary phone call for Life's Work mentoring and an opportunity to study and receive counsel from and with her. And we will include that information in the description section of this video below. And now, here's the remainder of Dr. Terry and my discussion about Step 5, Making Prosperous Choices. Some weather angels and spiritual helpers graced us with a little extra time after all. Persistence often delivers great gifts. Thank you for listening to the remainder of this conversation and joining in your own review of these possibilities for your own making of prosperous choices.
You cannot lose your spirit or your soul, but it can be so hidden and so gone that there's nothing left. Yes.
Yes.
That's why you have to realize this is a battle for your soul. And the soul is female, it's feminine. It is the lover of God. We are the lovers of God. And we are, in the Vedas, you call it the gopi, basically. They're gopis. They're lovers of God. And when I'm in harmony with the divine, my mission is to help others, you see. And our purpose is to love God, God realization, to be all that we can be, to claim the topmost that's possible, always, and to find out what that is, and to do the work so that what happens is you clean your consciousness of all the ignorance and allow yourself to fill your mind and your heart and your life with truth. And the truth that never changes. I'm a spiritual practitioner. I don't go to, someone tries to convince me how sick they are. I don't believe it. Because if I believe it, I'm no good to you. You don't want me to believe your problems are real. Because if you do, I can't help you. You see. But my strength, and so is Marie's, is that we work on ourselves and we live this and we put it, and then we devote our lives to helping other people because we thrill with your success. We don't envy anybody out there. We know we are. And so important with that, especially now. Everything out there is aimed to capture your soul. You're a God particle. So you have all those divine qualities, abilities in minute quantity. And so nothing is kept from us of that. But what we've done is we have given ourselves for a long, long, long time over to this. So it takes discernment and it takes a commitment to yourself. Because I know when you leave your body, you do not die, and you better know what happens. That is a lot of my work. You have to be there now. And you have to know that there's other unlimited numbers of realities you can live in. We've been taught this is it. This is all. You got Easter, you got Christmas, you got this, you got this game, you got the football game, you got this political party, and you got this group and that, and they're all hustling here for something. There's nothing there for them. It's a mental reality only. When you master the mind, you master your life.
It's so powerful. I mean, the gems that you are sharing from your journey, I mean, it touches my journey, and I've journeyed. Yes. And we still learn from each other because I'm learning things that you're not learning, and you're learning things still that I'm not learning.
That's right.
And this is what spirit-led life is. It's continuous, like curious, beautiful, blissful expansion. And I know that not right. A lot of people listening want to be in this energy with us, and sometimes people don't really know how you get started, or how, like, people lose faith. They get into this journey.
Well, they're not doing the work. You know they lose it because they're not doing the work. They're not taking the classes. They're not signed up with the teacher. They're not working it. Go on.
Yeah. Well, no, just like when you're awake to the illusions, you can spot them a mile away. And we can see where there's real truth. We can see where there's the light is inside people, and you see it.
Right.
It's not always in these flashy places. It's often in people.
It's never in the flashy places, ever.
Right.
That's all show business. Show business is Babylonian magic. That's all it is. It's theater. It's carnival people.
Theater. It is
girly
theater.
shows.
And you have a lot of the population that's swept up in that theater. But you and I and many people, there are people like us. We might be a small crowd at the leading edge of awakeness, but we are mighty.
We are.
And I think
are mighty.
People, And at the theater, it's like, if we see movies on fast forward, you can speed up a VCR tape or whatever. You can see it fast forward. Well, if we speed up what this time is in humanity's history that we're living right now, people want to be where we are, where we see the illusion and we make choices so we don't enter it, right? Even if I start to
that's why we do it, and that's why you write. That's why you do your work.
Yeah.
Because you're sharing with people the steps you've taken. And you offer them, just like I share just all the masters of the ancients, wisdom of the ages. People say, oh, well, that's old. Truth never changes. Absolute truth. And when you tell people, oh, my truth, your truth, that's their opinion. That's their programmed opinion. Truth is consistent with everyone all the time because it's the fabric of our being. And when you know the truth that never changes, I've looked at the situations I've been in, and by just holding as a practitioner to truth, it's amazing what happens and how things get handled right before your eyes. How the sick get well, and I was thinking too, like you know, in the article on the fourth step, some suggestions is be enthusiastic, associate with mutually supportive people, read my books, or go to my YouTube videos and watch it. You know, work with Marie, do her writing. We're sharing with you everything we have. But you have to be able to ask the question. You have to be able to do the work. I read every book. I've read through libraries of books. I've traveled all over the world to find teachers and whatever. Everything I've invested is from my spiritual life because you are eternal.
And like you said, when you go and if you say one of the things people choose to do is to read inspired writings, like find a teacher.
Yes.
If I found a teacher like you did from 500 years ago, I feel like I'm visiting with them now. Their energy is with me now. Right?
Now. Now is everything. There's only now. Only now. So that means when you master the now, you master your future. And most people, their future is their past relived. This is a recording of repetition. That's what the wheel is.
Yes. And I think, you know, as I was talking about that, like VCR tape on fast forward, the truth is that many people are aware that they're spinning on a hamster wheel. It's out of control.
That's right.
And they want to get off the merry-go-round, basically. But they need to see that there are people we've gotten off, and we're standing there.
Yes.
And we've got a fresh beverage.
We're saying, come on, it's great. And they go, oh, well, you're goofy. I don't know. I can't go there. My friends don't like it. You know, well, you know, you have to be prepared for nobody to like you, and you stand strong, baby.
That's it. That's exactly right. And there's such a freedom, and like I've been called all kinds of things. I'm sure you have too, Terry. Even by family members, right? Or you said something in a podcast recently. I don't know where someone said like, "Hang it up, Terry," and you said,
Yeah, they said, hang it up, you know, like you're old. I said, yeah, you hang it up. I never hang it up, buddy, and I'm timeless. And I'm a survivor.
I love that about you, and I am so the same spirit. Like
I know,
right? And
that's why we love each other. My God, I mean, how fortunate I am to know you, and to even that we can work together like this, because we work off of each other because we know the truth.
We know,
and you have to work on yourself, because all the time it's easy to get slimed out there and all of a sudden lose it. Well, then come dig your way back out of the hole again. You fall in, get back out. You fall down, get back up again. Yes,
it's true. And truth, whether people, it's not always comfortable, but it can shower you off. It can dry you, and you feel refreshed. It's like a glass of pure, fresh squeezed lemonade for people if you can get to the other side of it. And I've had to pick myself up countless times.
Yes.
And each time I see the strength of my truth in the illusion, and it has, like you said, it's timeless and eternal. So some people might listen to us and wish we just hang it up, but you know, We just keep
hang
on
it up,
going,
girls.
because
Yeah, well, we're having a good time, baby. And you can. I grew up with my sisters going, "It's not fair Terry Nan gets to do this. It's not fair, Terry." Well, you can do it too. What do you mean
Right.
not fair? Go
and
jump
we
in.
make this invitation is like, far and wide for people to discover this for themselves, and we are having a good time, even in weird times on the planet. And I'll say this,
absolutely.
Terry, I was going to say quickly that people won't necessarily have known this, but when this video posts, you've had some pretty wicked weather out where you live, and we've had to, this podcast has been interrupted like 5, 6, 10 times, and we're still going. We're still going.
We're not quitting. We're not quitting.
We're not quitting.
You can't do it.
And
no. Mm-mm. Give me some more, baby. Going. Give me some more. We can handle it. Let's go. Yeah, because with God, you never lose. And you have to see, there's two things that stop people mainly in spiritual life. It's over-attachment to family members. Not that you can't be attached enough, but overly attached to a bogus teaching. How many people set up their tent on one step of the ladder and stop climbing? No.
Wow, that is so true, right? They get knocked down once, and they think that's it. That's a message from God. I'm not supposed to do this, right? So as I round this out with you now, I just want to say that you did say, you've already said this, but I'm going to say it again. There are two parts to making prosperous choices, you say. Do what works to produce the results you want, and avoid what works against you. The truth is that, like, living this gorgeous, beautiful, strong, empowered, sovereign life, right, where we really are our God self. It is, the choices are simple, but our mind complicates them.
That's right.
And what you're doing, what you do such a beautiful job of in your articles, in your messages, in video, but also in these 8 steps, is you take what the serpent has done that evil, the dark energy, right, in the world, and you bring it back to the simplicity that God wants us to have again, which is just make the choices that are aligned with what your purpose, mission, and vision is. We are here to discern what is truly your path, and are you making the choice that's going to align that up the best way for you to be there?
That's right. And one of the top ways, too, is when and you study those who are successful at what you want to attain, and as you find out how they did it and what they did, you're going to find right here, this is the teaching. It's like, I remember Tony Robbins used to sit in my church all the time, and copy me. He patterned himself after me. I never attended anything he did, but all of these, the people that I wanted to be like my teacher in India. I mean, an airplane ride was 32 hours or just to even get there. And some people, they can't even go across the street to do something or what? If you want it, baby, get it. Have it.
Yes. And if you don't have that kind of gumption or that kind of grit or that kind of tenacity we're talking about today,
those are good words. Good words.
Yeah, listen to people who have it. And just borrow it a little bit, and you might find yourself taking that 32-hour plane ride yourself in your own way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
And it's worth it. Because what you have is, it's like, there's nothing greater than to be and know who you are freely without all of that stuff, which they're intense, I would say, hypnotic trances that are so thick that most people have no idea, even how you live, what you do, all of these things are all programmed. And it's all been in movies, and it's all been in books, and it's all been told, this is how you live. What you are is that the new world is coming. It's not an old world made new. We're not going to bring back what was. What we're calling for now is the natural world to come forth. The natural who we are. We don't have to vote. Voting is always a mixture. Real stuff comes from consensus. Because when we tune in to the divine and we're free of the envy and jealousy of others, we know who we are, we have our purpose and our mission and what we're doing in our products, our services, or what we want to attain and all of this, then when we focus on that, then my nonprofit is called Adventures in Enlightenment. Life becomes truly an everlasting grand adventure. And it all starts right now. And that means your decision and your commitment to your God within to find out and to be and to realize fully who you are. And then, baby, you never die. You never have died. I have memory of countless lifetimes. And everybody does. And when you get that, they all wind up the same. You're going to die. And when we pass that, you never die again because you are life itself. Absolutely.
Beautiful. That is beautiful, Terry. Well, thank you. Thank you for talking with me about all of these steps. We still have a few more to cover. And after that, I hope we can put you on. Right? We could put you on the journey, maybe talking about your new book or whatever. But I
got a whole bunch of them.
You are such a good messenger of all of these things. And I want to say again, Terry, I'll put the link. But people can connect with you because you coach people, you help people remember and live and embrace who they are. And so you can reach out to Terry. I'm going to put the link for the Substack where they can, read your
articles, yes. And I haven't written any for a while, but just because I'm working on something good. I'm really working on something really good. And it's about the mother. It's about the woman.
I feel the magnitude of that project, and I know there's like a divine timing for its release. So, people still go to, they can still go to your Substack and get a lot out of it.
Oh yeah, I have a lot. Oh, I want you to get the 8 steps. There's a lot of good stuff. I have stuff up there. I've just been doing so much inner work to help more people because you can only give people what you have. So the more and people don't realize that. They think, well, it's not okay for me to work on myself. What about helping people? Well, when you work on yourself, you're no longer an enemy of others. You see, you know and who you are. You're the sweetness of life, and you're connected. So in that's who you really are.
That's the true teacher. Well, and that's also the essence of the true teacher, the one you see continuing their work. Right? Those are the people that I want to connect with. Those are the people that I want to work with, the people who are still evolving and growing. And Terry can help you. Dr. Terry can help you with your mission. If you don't know what your mission or purpose is, she can help you. She can help you palpate that and discover that. So I just would highly recommend for people to reach out to you.
Thank you so much. Okay?
You have a great evening. I'll talk to you soon.